And speaking of politics, tonight is Governor Whitmer's State of the State address in Lansing. It is definitely a slower agenda than it was last year, but look for a couple of initiatives here, from community college opportunities to the concern over population growth. That's just some of it. So to get us up to speed on this one, go ahead and say hello to Jonathan Osting. He is the Capitol reporter for Bridge, Michigan. Jonathan, it's good to see you again. Thanks for joining me.
Hey, Christy, thanks for having me.
All right, this is a different feel than it was last year when you had this new legislature, you had Democrat control, and you knew that they were going to be pushing through policies, which they did over this last year. So before we start to tick off some of the things that we know that the governor is going to be talking about tonight, give me a sense of the feel from your vantage point of what it's going to be like legislatively and policy-wise this year.
Yeah, well, to your point, it's going to be a lot different. We've already seen the House basically unable to advance bills in the first week of session. Actually started a couple weeks ago. That's because right now, as you mentioned, there's an even split in the state House. Democrats lost 2 seats. What that means is the temporarily lost two seats, I should say. Those will be filled in April, at which point Democrats are likely to regain their 2-seat majority in the state House. I expect what you're going to see is the state Senate queuing up some bills, passing them through the upper chamber so that they're ready to go in the lower chamber. But as of today, there has been no real agreement between House Democratic and Republican leadership about how to move forward these next few months in an evenly divided chamber.
Jonathan, talk to us really about what the State of the State address is all about. It is an opportunity for the governor to be able to come out and say, hey, look at what we've done, and this is what we have yet to accomplish. And Governor Gretchen Whitmer is not only, of course, the focus here in Michigan, she's also in the national spotlight as well. This is an opportunity for her to be able to also share everything that she has done to a national audience.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, State of the State addresses always are at least partially about celebrating accomplishments from the prior year. And so while the state has some, bad news in terms of income growth and things like that, Whitmer can credibly say that she got a lot done on her agenda last year from this speech. Democratic priorities that have helped, as you mentioned, sort of grow her star nationally, from gun control reforms to LGBTQ protections. Democrats got a lot done last year. Now, I expect that sort of rah-rah session is maybe going to take up more of the speech today than it would in another year, given those dynamics we just talked about that are going to make it hard for the governor and legislative Democrats to get as much done, at least in the early part of this year.
All right, but let's get down to what some of her new focus will be. We will be talking about population growth, obviously, with the group that she set up back in June, and then the report that came out. That's a very large statement to say because there has to be so much into this. And one of those things that we're going to be hearing tonight is community college for all high school graduates in the state, and also looking at universal preschool for 4-year-olds across the state.
Yeah, those are 2 of the items that are pretty consistent with the Population Commission report that did come out in December. That report suggested, among a whole host of other things, sort of reimagining Michigan's education system as a preschool through 2 years of community college, so beyond just, or 2 years of college of any kind, I should say, so beyond simply high school graduation. So to accomplish that, the governor, as you mentioned, has already been pushing to expand universal preschool access. That's a goal of hers for several years now. And this year, she is proposing to make community college free for anyone who wants it in the state. The governor has a program in place already called Michigan Reconnect, which allows sort of older or folks who maybe went out into the job field and weren't quite satisfied to go back to community college for free. And last year they did put some new funding into that to lower the age threshold to 21 years, so anyone 21 or older. But what she's going to propose now this year is going all the way down to 18 or whatever the age might be that somebody's graduating high school to make community college free for everyone.
And, you know, you said that magic word, which is funding, because when we hear, you know, proposals, you'll hear everyone from the legislature perk up and say, all right, so where are we going to find the money for that? Do you have any conversations already starting?
Yeah, of course, those questions are going to be asked. I don't think we're going to get a ton of answers on that front tonight. The way these sort of rollouts typically happen is the governor proposes a big idea in her State of the State address in January, and it's February then when her administration will unveil their budget plan, sort of detailing where all the money would come from to fund the specific programs that are recommended or proposed. We do know from what's called a revenue estimating conference happened a couple weeks ago in Lansing that, you know, the state is doing okay fiscally, but that the years of a huge budget surplus are over. Democrats had that the last 2 years, or the governor did anyways, the last 2 years, because of COVID relief funding and recovery funding that was doled out to states across the country. Well, that money is mostly gone. So the budget is going to be a little leaner this year compared to those 2 prior years. But the legislature and the governor still do have a few billion dollars, sorry, in extra money still to play around with this year. So I assume a chunk of that will go to these projects, proposals. But when you're talking about something like free community college, that's not a one-time expense. The governor ostensibly wants this to last in perpetuity, so you have to then figure out a funding mechanism that will last in perpetuity as well.
Absolutely. We'll be watching for that. Jonathan Osting, Capitol reporter for Bridge, Michigan. We'll look forward to what you'll be writing tomorrow after the speech tonight. Appreciate your time. We'll talk to you soon, okay?
Yeah, thank you.